Let's talk about something that's causing major waves in basketball right now. The WNBA might not love this conversation.
WNBA are not going to be happy with this. That's all I'm going to say. They are absolutely, positively not going to be happy with this right here. If you guys don't know, obviously, Caitlin Clark is what you call it. She is in the she's going to be in the WNBA as part of and it's never going to stop. Caitlin Clark could win 10 rings and they're still going to complain about her not winning in high school. Like, I think Caitlin Clark is, the most relevant person in basketball. Now, that's racist. And I do think that the likelihood of Caitlin Clark, if the WNBA season doesn't happen.
But it's happening everywhere, from sports bars to boardrooms to social media feeds across the country. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA with expectations unlike anything we've seen in women's basketball. And whether you think she deserves all this attention or not, one thing is undeniable. Her impact on visibility, ratings, and fan engagement has been impossible to ignore. Recently, an NBC sports executive dropped a statement during basketball coverage that lit up the sports world. They suggested that Caitlin Clark is currently one of the most culturally relevant figures in basketball. Not just women's basketball. Basketball, period. That comment didn't just spark debate among fans. It created shockwaves across sports media, analysts, and inside the WNBA itself. Now, before we go further, let's be absolutely clear about something. This is not about diminishing other players. It's not about erasing the contributions happening across the league. The WNBA has spent decades, building elite talent, competitive rivalries, and a passionate, loyal fan base. Players like Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and so many others have been carrying this league on their backs, putting up incredible performances night after night. But here's the thing. Moments like this NBC statement raise a question that goes beyond any single player. It's a question about how leagues actually grow. How does star power influence attention? And what does that mean for everyone involved? Because like it or not, we're watching a moment in real time where these dynamics are playing out in ways we haven't seen before in women's basketball. Let's talk about the business side for a second, because this matters. Broadcast networks don't make statements like this casually. They operate based on hard data, audience numbers, viewership trends, engagement analytics, social media.
Alyssa Thomas was the reason why people are watching. And by the way, it's not even people are like, oh, it was the finals about Alyssa Thomas. No. They literally said it wasn't just the final, it wasn't just the playoffs, but our regular season broke records as fans went to watch Alyssa Thomas. Like, that is a statement. That is a statement the WNBA had put out. I have to say, that is a statement that they had put out to say that fans came to watch Alyssa Thomas instead of Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, even if he wants to.
Media tracking. When a major network like NBC highlights a specific athlete as a cultural force, it's not just opinion. It reflects measurable audience interest, ticket demand, and marketing performance. During the 2024 season, the WNBA saw increases that frankly stunned a lot of people. Major jumps in attendance, unprecedented media coverage, social media engagement off the charts. Arenas that used to have empty sections were suddenly selling out. Now, multiple players and storylines contributed to that growth. This wasn't a one-person show. But Caitlin Clark's transition from college superstar to professional player created something we rarely see, a massive crossover audience. People who'd never watched a WNBA game before were suddenly tuning in. Young girls were showing up in her jersey. Casual sports fans were paying attention. That level of attention? It's both an incredible opportunity and a serious challenge for any league trying to manage it. The WNBA has traditionally operated with a specific philosophy. Team success over individual glory. Competitive balance. Collective growth. That approach has helped maintain respect across rosters and markets, which matters for long-term stability. And honestly, that's been important. It's kept the league grounded. It's prevented the kind of super team chaos we see in other leagues. It's ensured that every franchise has a fighting chance. But here's where it gets complicated. Sports history shows us something pretty consistent. Major growth periods almost always include recognizable superstar figures. Think about it. Michael Jordan didn't just play basketball. He became a global phenomenon that introduced millions of people to the NBA. LeBron James did the same thing for a new generation. Stephen Curry transformed how people think about the game and brought in fans who'd never cared about basketball before. These athletes became entry points, gateways, ways for casual fans to connect with something bigger. The conversation around Caitlin Clark reflects that exact same dynamic playing out right now in women's basketball. And the WNBA is having to figure out, in real time, how to handle it. Do you lean into the star power and use it to lift the entire league? Or do you maintain the collective approach that's defined your identity for decades? There's no easy answer here. There have also been some intense debates across sports commentary about how individual player impact gets measured and discussed. And look, these conversations aren't new. They're common in professional sports. They reflect differing perspectives about team success versus individual influence, about roster balance, about what actually drives winning. Some analysts look at Caitlin Clark's assist numbers, her court vision, the way she elevates her teammates. Others point to Aya Wilson's MVP-caliber dominance, Breanna Stewart's championship pedigree, Sabrina Ionescu's all-around excellence. Here's what's important to remember. Basketball is ultimately a team sport, and many players contribute to league growth in different ways, both on the court and off it. The visibility someone brings doesn't automatically diminish what others accomplish. But the conversation gets heated because visibility often translates to opportunities, endorsements, media coverage, and influence that don't get distributed equally. That tension? It's real. And it's something the WNBA is navigating very carefully. Here's another layer that's adding serious intensity to this whole conversation: the WNBA's ongoing labor negotiations. The current collective bargaining situation has created real uncertainty around future seasons. Players want better pay, better travel conditions, better overall working conditions. And they should. The league's growth should translate to better treatment and compensation for everyone. But here's the thing. League stability matters. If scheduling changes, if there are work stoppages, if the season structure gets disrupted, all of that could affect momentum, visibility, and fan engagement. Broadcasters know this. Sponsors know this. Organizations are watching these developments very closely, because the worst possible outcome would be finally getting this historic attention, this momentum, this opportunity, and then having it derailed by labor issues before the league can capitalize on it. So why does this NBC statement actually matter? When a major broadcast partner publicly highlights an athlete's cultural impact, they're signaling something. They're showing how they view audience engagement trends, how they plan to position content, what drives their decision-making. These aren't just casual comments. They influence marketing campaigns, television scheduling, broadcast strategies, and ultimately how much money gets invested in covering the sport. Statements like this are less about creating controversy and more about how networks position sports content to reach the broadest possible audience. And right now, they're seeing data that tells them Caitlin Clark is a major part of that equation. Whether people agree with that assessment or not, the network executives are making business decisions based on what the numbers are showing them. Here's the real discussion, though. It's not whether Caitlin Clark is talented, that's widely recognized. It's not even whether she's influential. The numbers make that pretty clear. The larger conversation is about how leagues balance superstar attention with league-wide growth.
The fever I better without Caitlin Clark is one that was used by commentators. Like, to be fair, at least no one's gone full Cheryl Swoops. The fact Elle Duncan apologized to Cheryl Swoops is still one of the craziest things. So, basically, Elle Duncan said that Cheryl Swoops said Katie Lou Samuelson was more important to the Fever than Caitlin Clark. And that's what Elle Duncan reported.
Can star-driven momentum help expand opportunities for all players? Can it bring in revenue, sponsorships, and media deals that lift everyone's situation? Or should leagues focus on equal spotlight distribution to maintain long-term balance and prevent resentment or division? Both approaches have real strengths. Both have legitimate arguments behind them. The NBA leaned hard into star power with Jordan, and it worked. The league exploded globally. But it also created dynasties and competitive imbalance that some fans hated. Other leagues have tried more collective approaches, emphasizing parity and team success. Some have thrived with that model. Others have struggled to break through to mainstream attention. The WNBA is navigating this decision during what might be the most significant growth phase in the league's history. The choices made right now could shape the next decade of women's basketball. There is absolutely no denying that women's basketball is experiencing something historic right now. Increased media coverage. Attendance growth that's breaking records. Sponsorship investment at levels we haven't seen before. Rising fan engagement across every metric. This is real progress. This is the moment people have been working toward for years. The challenge now isn't creating the moment. It's already here. The challenge is converting this attention into sustained long-term growth. Building infrastructure that lasts beyond any single player's career. Creating economic models that support the entire league. This is the critical part. Sports history teaches us something pretty consistent. Growth almost always comes from a combination of superstar visibility and strong league infrastructure. You need the stars to bring people in. But you need the infrastructure to keep them engaged, to give them reasons to stay, to create the kind of deep fandom that sustains a league through ups and downs. The WNBA appears to be entering a defining era where both elements could shape its future in ways we're only beginning to understand. The question isn't whether the spotlight exists. It's already shining brighter than ever before. The real question is how the league, the players, the media, and the fans choose to use it. What happens next will determine whether this moment becomes a turning point or just a flash in the pan. And that's what makes this conversation so important, even if it's uncomfortable.